Hello everybody, what is up? It is Challenge Saga here, back with another video. I know it's been a while since I've released videos. That's cause I'm in college and well, college happened. But today is another Fortnite video, and the reason I'm doing this is because I noticed that my most popular video on my channel, even though it only got like 100 something views, it's still a big deal for me, was my Fortnite video where I showed you all how to make your own PTP map. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check that out. Link is in the description down below. But anyways, you guys seem to actually like those kind of tutorial videos, so I decided why not create another one. Now I know school started for a lot of you at the time I'm releasing this, so a lot of you might not be as much on that Fortnite grind as you would be during break, but I just thought, you know what, it would be fun to show you guys how to make another cool map, just to, you know, have fun and creative. If you have more than 4 people in your party, or you guys just get bored of Battle Royale, or like I said in my previous video, you just suck at Battle Royale and you want to do something else. So today what we're going to learn how to make is a Mafia map. Mafia maps are super fun. I created one and I play in it all the time with my friends, so it's a really cool map if you want to just, you know, well, I was about to say chill out, but you're not going to be chilling out with this game. It's very intense game. So before we move into the tutorial on how to create a Mafia map, there's probably some of you out there who don't know how to play. I'll quickly go over the rules. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so once that happens, I'll also tell you what we need today for our map, and it'll kind of be easier to follow along if I give you kind of this checklist, like, okay, here's what we need. So without further ado, Challenge Saga here. Let's get right into the video on how to create your own Mafia map in Fortnite Creative. Let's get started. Welcome to my Mafia map. Now, as you can see, it's chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It used to just be this campfire, this trail, the grass, and the buildings, but I gave my friends host privileges, so they decided to go crazy. Now, obviously, I've omitted all their names from the map because, you know, to respect their, I forget how to say the name, anonymity? I think that's how you say it. Basically, I want to keep them anonymous. I don't want to be revealing their identities without their permission. So yeah, this is the map that we play in typically, and I'm going to show you how the Mafia game works within this map. So this is how I'm going to go over the rules. Even if you already know the rules of the traditional Mafia game you play with cards, I would recommend listening to this because this is how you play it in Creative. It's got its own little twist. So yeah, for those of you guys who don't know what Mafia is actually a game you play in real life with cards. It's basically where you have a group of people and you have a narrator who's going to hand out cards to everybody. If you get a certain card, it depends on how you do it, but usually how we play it is if you get the aces, you're the Mafia. If you get the normal cards, you're villagers. Now, obviously, there's other variations where there's detectives and nurses and stuff like that. But in Fortnite, we're not doing detectives and nurses because that gets very chaotic. So all we're going to do in this game is Mafia and civilians. So therefore, I'm going to explain the rules as if there's only Mafia and civilians. So in real life, typically what would happen is Mafia's end goal is to kill all the civilians. Civilians' end goal is to try to kill all the Mafia before they can kill civilians. And typically there's 2 Mafia, like, there's way less Mafia than villagers. Like, for every 5 villagers, there's like 1 Mafia. That's how we usually play it. But anyway, so here's the Mafia map. So how to play in Fortnite Creative. First of all, you need a meeting area. This is the meeting area. Now, what's unique about playing this Mafia game in Fortnite is you don't need a separate narrator who can't play the game. The game, like Fortnite, is going to take care of the moderator role for you. So you don't have to have someone who can't play the game and has to, you know, sit there and narrate the game. If you played real Mafia, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, don't worry about it. It's not necessary. But basically, this is the discussion area. I'll get to this in a bit, but this is basically where all of us start out. So when we enter the map, we all meet up here, say, okay, is everybody good to go? Alright, everybody to their houses. Now usually, of course, instead of player 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's gonna be people's names. So my house, I believe, is player 2, so it would usually say Challenge Saga, or my real name actually. But that's how it is. So when it says everybody go to your houses, I would head off to my house, which is this one right here, and I would make my way into it. Now once I'm in my house, I literally just stay put. I'm just gonna chill out here. Now in this Mafia game, if you have a gold tactical shotgun in your weapons inventory, that means you are the Mafia. If you do not have the gold tactical shotgun in your inventory, as you can see, I don't have a gold tactical shotgun in my inventory, that means you are a civilian. So if you are a civilian, you stay put here. Now I'm going to show you in the game mode I create where you don't really need a moderator, but in this typically we have a moderator, but I'm going to treat it as there's no moderator. There's usually going to be a timer that says, okay, Mafia, do your killing. So basically, in this case, say I am a civilian, right? I would stay put here when that timer goes off and wait for the Mafia to kill. And that's all your job is. Now pause. Let's treat it as if the Mafia is chilling here. Say I'm the Mafia instead of the civilian, and when that timer comes on that says Mafia do the killing, I have to kill people, obviously. So what I would do is I would go through this door right here and go through this portal. Now this portal is going to pop me out in this room. This is the Mafia meeting area. If you have multiple Mafia, you guys can meet here and vote on who you want to kill. So say you want to kill player 1. If you have another Mafia member with you, you would mark that place. If you're solo Mafia, then you don't really need a mark. You just pick a place. You go through. Say we're going to player 1's house. You go through. And then we'll have a gold tactical shotgun and we'd shoot player 1. And then we'd quickly head back to our place, which is this house. Now if we're a civilian while the Mafia is doing that, we would literally just be chilling out, and if we get killed, we get killed. If we don't get killed, then we're just chilling here. Now once Mafia does their killing and gets back to their house, they gotta do that before the timer goes off. I'll explain what the timer is later when we start creating the map, but once the timer runs out, another timer will come up and say, okay, everybody back to the discussion area. So then we would make our way to the discussion area. So once you're at the discussion area, it gets very... This is where the fun starts. So Mafia's obviously killed someone, so you're gonna have less people one less person show up to the discussion area than usual. Oh yeah, also Mafia can only kill one person at a time. Even if you have 5 Mafia in a game, they can only kill one person at night at a time. Now once everybody's in the discussion area, this is where you're gonna discuss who you think the Mafia is. Mafia are gonna try to divert the blame to civilians. Civilians are gonna try to find out who the Mafia is. Now there's going to be discussion time where you all discuss, then comes voting. Voting is where you're going to vote for who you think is the most sus, who you think the Mafia is. Whoever gets the most votes is going to be killed. So then what would happen is you would choose an executioner. The executioner is going to come here and pick up the gold tactical shotgun and shoot the person who got the most votes. The person with the most votes, do not go and pick up the gold tactical shotgun. Someone else has to kill you. So once they die, if the person who died dropped a gold tactical shotgun, congratulations, you killed a Mafia member. If there's multiple, civilians have not won the game yet, but if that was the only Mafia, congratulations, you won the game. If a gold tactical shotgun does not drop, you just kill the civilian. Game continues, and you repeat. You'll go back to your house, Mafia will do whatever they did again, and it'll keep going until the amount of Mafia either equals or exceeds the number of civilians. So say you have 2 Mafia and 2 civilians, then Mafia win. Alright, 3 Mafia, 3 civilians, Mafia wins. 1 Mafia, 1 civilian, Mafia wins. Okay? So now if you have 2 Mafia and 1 civilian, that shouldn't happen. So don't worry about that. But yeah, once that happens, Mafia 1, just kill the remaining civilian and you'll automatically end the game. I gotta be really careful. I forgot I did not turn off structure. Okay, so that's basically it. That's how you play Mafia. It's super simple. So I know that took a really long time, but now I'm not gonna actually show you how to create one in this map, but now it's time to show you how to create a map. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new island so we can do it there. So I'll see you there in a bit, but first let's go over our checklist. Okay, so before we actually get into the tutorial, I want to go over our checklist. Basically, this checklist is going to show you what we need for our Mafia map to work properly. Now, there's 5 things we're going to need. The first one being the discussion area. This is where you will all discuss who you believe the Mafia are and then eliminate them. Then there's the player houses. This is just where the players are going to stay during the night time. Our third thing we're going to need is the Mafia HQ or the Mafia Headquarters. This is where the Mafia meet up and or choose who they want to kill for the night. Then team settings. This is where we're going to decide, how the game is going to decide who the Mafia is and what the Mafia and what it means to be Mafia. And finally, the 5th thing we need is the timers. This is what's going to run the game smoothly for you, give you time limits and etc. I'll show you the purpose of that once we get to the tutorial. But important thing is these are the 5 essential things we're going to need for our Mafia map to work effortlessly. So I'm going to walk you through how to implement all of these, but this is our checklist. I'm going to keep it to the side during the entirety of the video once we get to the actual tutorial part, and then you'll see we'll knock out each item one by one. Alright, so let's get right to the tutorial. Alrighty, so welcome back, and welcome to our map. This is where we're going to create our Mafia map. Now obviously I'm not going to create a grand Mafia map like the other one. That's up to you. Design is all up to you, whatever you want to do. Here we're just going to make a crude design. This is just to show you the structures you need, how to build them, how to do the technicalities. So first off, we're going to make our discussion area. So our discussion area is super easy to build. That's why I'm building it. So for a discussion area, you can build it as big as you want, but it's going to go in the center of your map, right? So now I created a 3x3 structure. I did that because you have an easy center square and then you have a surrounding. So if you want to put sand like I did in the other map with benches and a campfire, you can do that. If you just want a wooden area, you can do that. That's totally up to you. Alright, so, but the important thing you do need in the discussion area is just a base, but also you need a button, and I'll show you why that's important. So we're going to open up our creative menu, go to devices, and you're going to find the button device. The button device should be this green thing right here. Equip it. You could use triggers if you want, but I wouldn't confuse yourselves with it. Just go with the button. The problem with the trigger is that if you accidentally walk over it when you didn't mean to trigger it, you can accidentally trigger your timers. That's what the button is for, by the way. I'll talk about that later, but for now, just go with the button. It's super easy. Now, what we want to do now is we're going to build a wall right here. Now, once again, design is completely up to you. You can design this however you want, but ideally, we want a place where we can set this button. Now, if you want it to look pretty, what you could do is add another base right here, and then add a wall. That you can do. That way, your center isn't completely messed up. But like I said, design completely up to you. Basically, all we need is a place to put our button. So we're gonna go ahead, rotate this so you can see that 3D part is facing us, and paste it in. Alright, so now that we have our button, let's customize it. So we're gonna go to all options, interact time, instant, activating team, any, times can trigger infinite, delay, none. We're gonna skip all this until we get to reset delay. So reset delay is something you want to play around with. So I'm gonna set this to 5 minutes, and I'll show you why in a bit. But yeah, so we're gonna stick it to 5 minutes for now. Actually, we're not gonna touch this yet. Just know we're gonna come back to this and play with reset delay. So keep that in mind. But everything else, we're gonna go down to interaction text now. In interaction text, we're literally just gonna say start round. Starting round. Okay, so we're gonna just type in start round. That's all you gotta do there. Visible during game, yes. Interaction, blah blah. Now the important things now is when interactive with transmit on, we want to set that to channel 1. So make sure you set that to channel 1. So again, I'll show you why that's important in a bit. But there, boom, you have your discussion area. Now if you want to get fancy with it, you could go back to your creative menu and go to the map indicator. So let's go ahead and find that map indicator. It should look like this. Equip it. Put it down, I don't know, in the center. Enable on game start, yes. I turn off icons because icons are kind of distracting, but you can literally put discussion area. And that's it. Oops. Now text color, none of these matter. So there you go. Now on your map, you should see discussion area. So there you go. We have our discussion area set up. That's all we need to do for that. Now, next up is going to be building our houses. So why do we need houses? If you stayed for the part where I went over the rules, I explained what the houses are for, but in case you skip that, no worries. All the houses are for is this is where you're gonna go for the night, and I'll show you the significance of that when I'm going over how to play, but just know these are important. Now, once again, design is completely up to you. Design these houses however you want. That's 100% up to you. Me, I'm lazy. I like to use prefabs. So I'm going to go back to the creative inventory and go to prefabs. And I'm going to select something that's, you know, relatively small and easy to navigate. But at the same time is an enclosed structure. I want something that, you know, has rooms in it. And I'll show you why that's important. But what I'm going to use for this, and the other one I went ahead and used log cabins, the cottage. That's what I used. So I'm going to go ahead and use that here too. Now obviously this takes up quite a bit more storage than a prefab would, making it on your own would. So if you're interested in making it on your own, you literally go to your creative menu and you pick whatever looks pretty here. Say you like how the lodge one looks. You'll press the open. For me, I'm on controller, so it's triangle, but it should say what yours is, and you can see here, okay, here's what the wall structures look like. You can equip that, and then you can build your own structure, or that takes up significantly less storage. I was about to say you can also build, but keep in mind it takes 20 units of storage. That takes significantly more storage than just using the wall thing I just showed you how to do. So yeah, you would open up a prefab and you would pick the wall. But anyways, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and use prefabs. So let's go ahead and place, say we have, for the sake of example, I'm going to use 3 buildings. Okay. Obviously, in an ideal Mafia game, you'd have way more players than 3. I would suggest setting it up for 8 players. 8 players is typically how you'd want to do it. Because, you know, you want to cover all your bases. So, lobby fills up at 8 people. I don't know if they extended it. They might have. But, no, I think it is still 8 people. But anyways, I'm just going to set it up for 3. Because it's quicker and easier to explain with 3. And it takes much less time. So, now that we have our houses down, what do we do now? We're not quite done with these houses. We still have something we need to do. Okay? We need to add portals. Now, I'll explain to you why these portals are important. Everything will make sense later, but just follow my directions for now. What we want to do is add, you know, the portals like I said. So you're going to open up your creative menu, go to devices, and go to teleporter. Equip teleporter. And now, typically what I do here, as you can see, there's no real closed area. I like to keep the place closed, but totally up to you. I'm just going to put down the teleporter right here. Okay? And boom. Now, we're going to customize that teleporter. And we're going to set this one to group A. So, this one we're really not going to touch. For the teleporter group and teleporter target group. But we are going to touch the team. We're going to set this to team 1. Why? Because we only want Mafia using this portal. We do not want Civs using this portal. I'll show you why later, but trust me on this one, set it to team 1. Change teleport target never. Yes, play. All these are up to you. You can do whatever you want. It's not really important. Channels, don't touch it. It's fine. So there you go. Now, we're going to copy this teleporter and put it in the second house. So let's go to the second house. place. Okay, let's just land it. Okay, so in the second house, we're gonna put the teleporter exactly where we put it in the first house, right here. Now, you might think, okay, we're done. We can just copy and put it in the third house, fourth house, fifth house, etc. No, you need to do something different here. So customize the teleporter again. This time set it to teleporter group B and teleporter target group B, but leave everything else the same. And hit OK. Now we're gonna copy this, take it to house number 3. Alright. And we're gonna do the same exact thing. Paste it, change it to C. For house number 4, do the same thing, copy paste, change teleporter target group and teleporter group to D. E for 5, F for 6, G for 7, H for 8, and done. Okay? So all you gotta remember for these portals is change teleporter group and teleporter target group. They gotta be different for each portal in each house. And then change team to team 1. And you're done. That's all you gotta do for houses. Now, once again, if you want to get fancy with it, you can add map indicators. Actually, map indicators are important. This is actually essential, so we're not quite done yet. Sorry, it's not optional to do these map indicators. This one is actually necessary. So, for this, turn off icons. Set text to player 3. Now, if you know all the people in your party, you can set it to the name of the person. It makes life much easier if you set it to the name of the person. But if you don't know who's going to be playing your map, if you plan to go public with it, just do generic player 1, 2, 3. This is player 3's house. Okay? Now all we're going to do is copy that and paste it into here. Change player 3 to 2. Right? And then we're going to fly to house 1. Oh, this is house 3. We're going to fly to house 1. And do the same thing, edit this to 1. And we're done. Now we're actually done creating our houses. If you look, you'll see player 1, 2, 3. Just a little tip, make sure these houses are separated. Now I kept them really close together, but it's much better if you keep them separated. Why? Because you won't hear the footprints of someone in the house next door. But if you follow along with me and put them close together, that's up to you. There's no problem. It'll all work just the same. The only problem is you might hear footsteps. A quick solution to that is just tell everybody to move around their house. Constant footsteps in the house. That way you don't know when someone is running to the portal. Okay, so now that we have our houses set up, we're done. These are the houses. Next up on our checklist is the Mafia Headquarters. So, Mafia Headquarters, we're going to make it all the way here. And for Mafia Headquarters, I'd recommend making it on your own. So don't use prefab for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and set it. Once again, I suggest using the walls from the prefab. It takes up significantly less storage than building it out of mats. But what we're doing here is creating a big structure. So mine is going to be 5 by 5. I think it's 5 by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count. Alright, let's delete. Now, I'm just doing this to be pretty about it. 5 by 5 is going to be the prettiest version because what we're going to be ending up doing here is having portals. So we're going to make hallways when we get to it, but you can actually follow along with me right now if you're doing it, but we're going to make 3 hallways. And then we can literally put 1 wall there and 1 wall there. Now obviously this is for 3 houses. If you have multiple houses, say you have 5 houses, I make this a hallway if you want, and then make the this one a hallway as well. Right, so you could do that. But me, I'm making it as if it were for 3 people. So 5, 7, 8, just add more hallways. Add as many hallways as you expect players. So if you expect 8 players, make 8 little hallways. Now we want this to be 3 blocks in height, at least. Okay, so don't make it any shorter. I'll show you why in just a sec. But make sure its height is 3 blocks, starting from the base. So as you can see, we have 1 already down here, 2, 3. Okay? Now is my counting off? 2, 3, 4. We need one more block. And this is 5. And now we're gonna have our little 5x5 structure. So yeah, you can once again use whatever walls you want. It's your map, so if you want to design it a different way, then just pause me and just make it the way you want. You don't have to use the walls I'm using. It's just I like the typical classy wood feel. Also, my Mafia map is usually like campground themed, if you saw my Mafia map I showed earlier in this video. But like I said, totally up to you how you want to build your map. That is up to you. Now, obviously, we also need a ground ceiling. My bad. So, and a ground. That's up to you. Once again, you can make your place look as ugly or as pretty as you want. I like to add a roof and a ground. But once again, you can make your Mafia headquarters look as ugly or as pretty as you want. But make sure you have the hallways and at least 3 blocks in height. You can make it taller than that, but that's typically a waste because they're not really going to spend much time in the Mafia headquarters. So while I'm building this, I'll explain what this is for. This is where Mafia are going to meet up and choose who they're going to kill. If you have multiple Mafia, then you guys will basically, you guys are going to decide together who you want to kill. Like I said in the rules before this video started, Mafia, you can only kill one person at a time at night time. You cannot kill multiple people. So, now we're going to make these hallways the same height. And this we don't really need to worry about, but here we go. So there, and there. Now you see why this is important. Right? And then you can add that patching there too. So there we go. We basically wanted this area above the hallway. We wanted a place to put a billboard. That's what we're going to do next. We're going to put a billboard. I'm going to patch up these hallways. That way it's not like wide open like that. But there you go. We have our Mafia headquarters. Super simple. So now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and go to devices by opening up our creative menu and hitting billboard. Equip the billboard and put it above the hallways. Make sure sample text is facing you. There's 1 sign, there's 2 signs, there's 3 signs. Mine don't look pretty. Once again, totally up to you how you want to make it look. But all we need to do here is insert the player name. So in this case, it's a general map, so it's player 1. This is going to be player 2. Did I all caps down? Whatever. Okay. And player 3. Okay. You know what? Fine. We're gonna make it look like the others. Okay, bet. So, there you go. Now you can center it, make the fonts however you want it to be, but all you need is the players. If you have multiple players, once again, you should have multiple hallways, make multiple signs above each one. Now, what do we want to do here? Obviously, Mafia, you can't go through the hallway and just boom, pop into someone's house right now. Why? Because there's nothing to take you to the houses, right? So what we're gonna do now is, okay, we want to put player 1's teleporter down. So we're gonna go to player 1's house. So let's make our way to player 1's house. We're gonna fly and break into player 1's house. Once we're in player 1's house, let's go ahead and copy the teleporter. And we're going to take it to the Mafia headquarters. And we're going to paste it in. Now, the Mafia can enter player 1's house. And they can come back. Right? Now, you could fly back to player 2's house and paste it into player 2's hallway. And do the same for player 3. But a much easier way is just to copy the portal you already brought here into both hallways and then edit it. So let's customize player 2's portal and make it group B, and customize player 3's portal to group C. This is way easier, especially if you have more than 3 houses. That way you don't have to keep flying back and forth. Just do it once and then customize each portal. So now, as you can see, player 1's belongs to group A, player 2's belongs to group B, and player 3's belongs to group C. Remember, only team 1 can access these portals. Just to test it, if we go through player 2's portal, boom, we end up in player 2's house. We can go back. If we want to go into player 3's house, we're in player 3's house. We can go back. Ta-da! There's our Mafia headquarters. Now, what is the point of this headquarters? Basically, when Mafia have to do their killing, they'll come to this headquarters. If you have multiple Mafia, you decide how to vote by just marking a place. Hey, let's go kill player 2. Okay, both of you Mafia will go running through, or how many ever Mafia there is will run through player 2's. You'll have a gold tactical shotgun. You'll shoot the person who you'll shoot player 2. You'll go back into the portal, go back to your house, say player 1 was the Mafia, and wait until night is over. That's how the headquarters works. So, let's go back to the headquarters and mark this place as Mafia Headquarters. Let's take out our map indicator, place it down, and make it Mafia HQ. And let's turn off the icon. Done. And now on our map you can see we have player 1, 2, 3, discussion area, and Mafia HQ. Perfect! So, now that we have all of our structures, we've made it through our checklist as far as structures go. Alright, so this marks the end of part 1 of our Mafia tutorial series. There are 2 parts to this series. And yeah, as you can see, we're already 31 minutes in, which is why I decided, okay, I'm going to separate it into 2 parts, but also because the second part is completely different from the first part. Why? Because what we just did is building our buildings, the structures, and it's very stylistic. So this is what your players are going to see in your map, so it's much easier to understand, okay, why did we do all of this? The second part, I will warn you, is going to be a little trickier. But it shouldn't be too tricky because I'm here to walk you through it. But anyways, what we're going to be doing in part 2 is much more theoretical. We're going to be figuring out team configuration. We're going to be figuring out how to set up those timers so the game runs smoothly. And then we also want to figure out our island settings, what kind of settings we want in our map. So that's much more behind the scenes work. None of your players are going to see physically that, but they will be able to experience it throughout the game. So yes, it's gonna be a little more, okay, you have to actually think about it, but I'll be here to walk you through it, so it's not that big of a deal. But anyways, thank you so much for watching part 1 of this series. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe and show your support. Also, if you have any questions, leave in the comments. Same with part 2. If you have any questions, leave in the comments. But anyways, thank you so much for sticking with me up to this point, and you should see the link for the second video in the description and also on this title screen. So go ahead and click on that, and I look forward to seeing you in part 2. Let's go.